Okay, so from my prototype cabinet, I found that when I put the Purple Heart end cap on, because it's such a long piece, it tends not to stay aligned with the plywood. And so it sort of waves back and forth as it goes down. Now, I'm going to try to rectify that by using these bits here. And these bits are designed to help allow the end cap to glue on strong and straight and align it. And they give more gluing surface also as compared to a butt joint. So the first two that I've actually made some cuts with are these two here from Rockler. And this is a V-groove bits. And this does a good job of lining up. As a matter of fact, I have a particular cut here that I did with that. And does take a lot of material out of the wood. So on Amazon, I found these two bits here, and these are just tongue and groove. But the reason I bought these was they were the only ones that I found that were 1/4 inch deep. Most 1/4 inch wide tongue and grooves are 1/2 inch deep. Now, I could rectify that by bringing my fence, you know, 1/4 inch into the 1/2 inch cut, and that would make them 1/4 inch also. But it'd be nice to be able to have the wood roll on the bearing right there on these particular bits. Now, right away, some of the advantages and disadvantages I see between these two bits. One of the advantages, this one's $39.99, this one's $19.99, so it's about half the price. But the quality on these two, you can see right away, is not quite as good as the quality on the Rockler ones. Now, the other thing about these two is that they do have an advantage that they have 3 blades, which theoretically should give you a smoother cut. This one has 2 blades, but these 2 blades are thicker, and they do take quite a bit out of that wood, and they do make a pretty fine cut, so I've not had any problems with that so far. But I will be testing out these today, and I will make the cut actually with both these bits today. My test pieces, I had some hardwood, and I milled them down to the exact dimensions of the plywood, so I can see how easy it is for me to get these straight all the way along the plywood. Let's try it out. Okay, so first off, I have to apologize to all you people out in YouTube land. I have to make an addendum on my numbers here. This bit from Rockler is $39.99. This bit from Rockler is $49.99. So basically got 50 and 40, got $90, and these two combined were $20. Now that being said, where do you want to spend your money? First off, on this one here, the cuts were okay. I actually had some chip out on the walnut. I actually did both cuts on each piece, and I marked the face on here so that I would have the same side facing down on every cut, so hopefully to make it all work together, fit together better. But no matter which way I flip this, the joint doesn't come completely together. This particular one, I would say that these two bits are not worth the 20 bucks, and I'm going to be sending them back to Amazon because I got Prime, so those things are going back. I would not recommend those bits at all. This didn't make a good joint. You can see that I can move it back and forth. It just doesn't fit well together. The actual opening here is much wider than the tongue here. So the groove is much wider than the tongue. And you can see that it's a very sloppy joint. So this is not going to give you a solid joint once you put it together. Now, in contrast, the Rockler one fits magnificent. I mean, the cut is smooth. It fits together very well. Everything works pretty good. I mean, it goes together pretty flat. And let's see if I maybe flip this over. Maybe it might, nope, it doesn't go together any better. So let me flip these two over. Well, actually, this side is very nice. So that side would work. Yeah, I find that for this particular joint, the finished piece, the Purple Heart piece, would actually be better off having the V in it, the inside V, and the external V would actually be better. Hopefully I'm using the right terminology. I don't know what to call these. But basically the tongue V would actually be better on the plywood as they fit together. So this makes a really nice joint. Now, the bad part about this is taken off like an 1/8 inch more. This goes 3/8 of an inch into my 3/4 inch piece that I'm gonna have as an end cap. So it's taken off quite a bit of wood, and this would be the thinnest that I would recommend you use to cut them down, which means that once I cut this to size and this one to size, like if I did one on each side, I'm gonna have a pretty good size strip that's gonna be wasted. Whereas I was hoping I wouldn't have it with this. Now, I'm gonna make one more test on my own here. I think that if I bought a better set of this, I might be happy, but I do have in here, I do have just a single 1/4 inch cutter. So I'm gonna try this. What I can do is I can put it at the lowest part. I can make this cut here and then just flip over the board and make the cut again. And that should give me the 1/4 inch reveal there. And then on this one, it's just gonna be dead center going on through there. So I'm gonna try this. And the nice thing about this is that no part of the blade will be above the wood at any time, because when I make the first cut, when I make this cut, the wood's gonna be covering it. And then when I make this cut, the wood is gonna be covering it. And then when I make this cut, the wood is gonna be covering it. So I would feel much safer, even though it's an extra flip of the board, I think I'm gonna feel much safer doing it with this. So I'm gonna try this out right now and see how this one works. Okay, so there you go. Sometimes simpler is better. This one here is a Freud bit, and I'll give the information below as to the cost on it. I'm sure it's not real cheap. But this single bit here, as you saw, I just made a tongue groove here, and it's a beautiful fit. I have clean cuts on the wood, both sides, even the plywood. They fit both directions. That's the way I'm gonna go. I mean, I'm just gonna use this single bit here. Next best is this, and one thing I should tell you that I forgot to tell you last time is that when you're using this bit here, it actually takes more off of the front like when this is going across this fence, there's actually a gap on the backside there because it cuts into it deeper when you set it at the actual ball bearing there. So you're going to have to, it's going to take a little bit more time to adjust because you have to bring the ball bearing back and then figure out exactly where it's going to be in the middle and, you know, try to get it to the very edge there. But because it cuts such a sharp edge here, and you can actually cut yourself on this thing, but because it has such a sharp edge here, it sort of goes into the wood a little bit. So you actually lose about maybe a 64th 32nd on that piece of wood as it comes inside. This one, the blade's never out, never exposed. I felt comfortable using this one. Like I said, the fit is perfect. Both front and back are just perfectly aligned. There's no spot. So I did mark the front of both of them, so I kept them the same. After I made my tongue cut here, and that's how well they fit together. After I made my tongue cut here, what I did, after I made my groove cut here, what I did was I measured the blade on the bottom one, did that first, then when I flipped it over, I measured the blade again, because there is like a 64th, maybe a 32nd, but I think more of a 64th difference between the two. So that made it so that it was just an absolute perfect fit. So that's the direction I'm gonna go. Again, simpler is better. Good quality versus cheap quality is better. This is already packed up, ready to go back to Amazon, so I'll be shipping that out tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna have more like this, testing out stuff and showing you different types of cuts and different types of ways of putting cabinets together, including my kitchen build and plus a lot of shop cabinets that I'll be doing. So please, if you can, give me a like down here. If you have any comments or like to see anything or see me test out something, let me know in the comments. I'll try to do that. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribers make a big difference, and I'd love to have you guys on board to watch my whole renovation go. So stay tuned. I will talk to you soon.